最近彼女できたらしくて、弟が。なんか一緒に住んでるっぽいんすよ。
ちなみにさ、それはどうなの、お姉ちゃん的には。
でも最初は猛反発よ。ありえないと。
ああ、そうだった。
夏祭りさ、行ったことないって言ったじゃん。弟がちょっと前に彼女できた時に、実はつけに行ったんだよね。
Well, yeah. That's what we're gonna be getting into. Oh dear God, what am I getting myself into? So yeah, that happened. I don't typically play too many clips, so hopefully this doesn't get me quite demonetized. Again, feel free to check out Hololive clips for that one. That's a bit of an older video, but again, Hololive clips, great channel, good memer. Was once introduce that in somehow, but so that's what's happening. That's what was dropped. Do I approve of it? I have no idea. But TLDR, I've been trying to figure out how to whatchamacallit, how to get into this topic, not right away, so to say, like how to get into this topic essentially, into this VTuber category, because I recognized her. I watched her clips. And so she showed up here, and I was like kind of hyped about it, and I do apologize for me taking so long to kind of talk a little bit about it. Primarily, typical technical eternity anyway, but I couldn't not talk about her, like Lapless. Well, technically it's LA, like Lap Plus. But yeah, no, setting that aside, we're gonna talk a little bit about her banner. I might be doing a couple of more daily stuff, 'cause I haven't consumed my salmon quite yet, but we're gonna be talking a little bit about her, essentially, in essence. But, she is actually a pretty good character from Hololive, from the Hololive roster, like, off the bat, actually a bopping one. She is kind of insane, actually. So much so, I had to actually reread her ultimate like a bunch of times to ensure I wasn't out of my mind reading what she does. And I'm not. Though what this kind of does tell me, among things, is for starters, we are bombarded yet again with options, by the way. Absolutely bombarded. So we have the selection banners kind of obviously skipped. We have revival summons, as always. We've talked about this one. I think one of the most worth the ones is as always, like the old whatchamacallit, Epsilon, but you should have gotten her for free from this event, essentially. So yeah, try and claim her right now if you can. She's really still pretty good. I think she's actually still better comparatively to the other one still. So you can actually, she is actually better than even the new alpha, supposedly. That's what I've heard comments-wise. I haven't managed to build up alpha, so I can't tell you if she's quite as good or not, but Epsilon herself has been handling pretty well, so if you can get her, go for it. Zeta is a really decent character. I believe she was kind of part of the new kind of phase of, like, she was good. She was meant to be a third intro for the green team kind of thing. She was good back in release, and I think she might still be a little bit meta on certain teams, especially in the green teams. Not 100% sure, but I believe she might still have some room. But I believe she was good, at least from what I remember. If we actually look at PvP even, I don't know if there's any room really there for kind of like seeing like any proper PvP teams for that type of stuff, but she was good. Oh yeah, we can't really look at teams in this one. Mostly because I think Yellow has like essentially like claimed the throne at the moment. There really is nothing like a yellow team to make you lose your goddamn mind at the moment. And if you're not running a yellow team, you're running a red team that's a little bit subpar compared to everything else. I guess you could run the blue team, but the blue team just somehow, like, yeah, still getting clowned by the blue. So basically, if it's blue against the shadow row, I think. Shadow Aurora. But yeah, no. Sending aside PvP because I'm like kind of at this point a little bit done with that one specifically. We do have again the other selection banners. I haven't really talked about the new Victoria, mostly because I wasn't expecting them to drop this one quite yet, but they did drop her. I wasn't really interested in Victoria personally as well, so kind of why I've been ignoring her. Again, not really seeing anything. Oh, okay. Recovers all allies. Also raises crit damage by 30%. Also increases crit damage if Shadow Garden. So 60% crit damage buff or 100% crit damage buff if like max. That's actually really decent, actually. It's decent up until you hit damage cap, obviously. It's pretty good if you hit multiple times. I don't know if there's anybody that does hit multiple times on the green teams at this moment. No, I don't think there's a gamma for that. I think Aurora might hit multiple times, but she's not quite built for that. Yeah, crit damage, first 1% crit damage, elemental allies by multiple by 2%. Total bleed effects up to a max of 100%. She already does that, what? That's kind of wild. No, she already does this. She's kind of like a healer and like support on the crit damage as well. It's kind of weird, really. But yeah, like you kind of because you either run a mono Thera interrupt team or you run a mono blood LA team essentially. I don't think any of those have like really multiple damage hits. Yeah, even then they only deal 2. Again, personally, I kind of chose these ones mostly because I like them. I think you still hit like 3 times at least, yeah. 3 times. Your cover is 1 HP times 200% attack. She hits 3 times, which is pretty decent. I think she's probably like the best for like a multi-hit instances. I still think one of the best ones is obviously Gamma, but let's actually check her out a little bit because she's a healer, or she's like a support class essentially. She heals allies and gives you up to 100% crit damage rate, which is pretty high, especially for 30 seconds, especially as well. Yeah, recovers allies HP by that much. Raises crit rate if Shadow Garden by 30% of all Shadow Garden allies, and then recovers 1 SP by 200%. Ooh. Eternal Plum Blossom is pretty decent. Further raises attack by 20% for 50 seconds. So if you get her Eternal Plum Blossom, that's actually pretty good. First slot unlocks the second gear slots, that's not quite as good. Special ability, each time crit is triggered by ally, raises speed of all Shadow Garden allies. Oh my god, that's pretty fast actually. Holy shit. So it's part of passive? Crit damage just raises speed of all Shadow Garden by 10%. It has a little bit of a cooldown on it, so that might not be quite as good for PvP. It's really decent if you're trying to like, it's like a ramp up, so like in PvE it kind of ends up pretty decent. In PvP can be good, but you need to like ramp up instantly sometimes if you want to live. If you can actually like survive that, you're probably fine. And then raises shields all allies by 150% of attacks, and then raises speed by 20%. It's not necessarily the best. Plus her attack 3300 attack. If we go look at an attacker, how long is like how high is her attack for Epsilon? Because she's really good. I like Rosa's stuff. Her attack's a little bit higher. It's actually not as high as I would have expected personally. That's kind of impressive actually. The difference between attacker and like healer is actually not as high as I thought it was. 300 points, but it is significant, obviously. But she is good. She is decent. Now if she, because the speed is always kind of like one of those things that's always like really nice. She raises speed. She kind of will cap out the speed really fast. How does she compare to everybody else's, like the green units? Because I think, for me personally, Rose was really good as a support class. It kind of runs through like the entire green kind of support variety. If we go through supports, again, there's really not many supports. She's kind of like the fastest speed unit kind of thing. Therian trope only intended. She is definitely better than Epsilon, I think, at this point. Further increases defense. That's kind of just for tankiness and survivability. Sleep, that's not bad. Increases raises defense damage. So inflicts sleep, further raises damage by 20%, and inflicts an 50% of damage on single enemy with highest attack. So that's not bad. Raises overkill. That's okay. Yeah, again, personally, I think Epsilon needs kind of like an SS plus gear, if she doesn't already. She does not. Recovers all allies' HP by in the start of weight. This is kind of one of those things that I find really pointless. Is there's no point of me healing my HP at the start of wave, unless, specifically unless, you're going through the sanctuary. In which case, it's really nice to just heal your health really fast, especially if you're only taking like an instance of damage and you're like moving on. It's really nice to kind of refresh that kind of stuff. It's not the worst thing, but it definitely can be better. Obviously, these are kind of tiered, like they each have their own purposes. I think personally, since she's kind of like a shadow member, specifically for shadow members kind of thing, it'll probably be pretty good. She has like a lot of longevity, especially in that prospect. I think if we go through this and we go through like those things, I don't think, for example, if you're not any of these, it kind of don't really matter. No. Shadow. All these skins will apply under the Shadow Garden tag. These are kind of like, again, not the greatest. They were just for missing still some variety on this. However, if we can actually check it out, like the ones that aren't part of the Shadow Garden, there still could be like much less options. I think it's probably fine. And especially since this is mostly Shard Garden characters for the majority of the game. So I think those guys are kind of going to have better variety, better usability. Now, I think Epsilon is pretty decent for her kit. Again, recovers SP for all allies, pretty good on the ultimate. Lowers defense is always nice to see. Not the greatest thing. Increases damage and also increases boost rate on that. I think her passive is where she kind of glows off. No, what the hell? Is it her weapon? Allies attack. Man, she kind of feels apart, but she's just gonna attack everyone again. I think I like just the SP boost kind of thing. Lowers crit raise. Raises crit damage and then SP boost rate. Maybe she's kind of a little bit subpar. No, I think I just kind of looked at the ultimate and said that was pretty good. No, she kind of feels like it's missing some stuff. Especially for her attacker. She hits at least 3 times, which isn't bad. Her damage kind of scaling is really terrible, but she also does provide some support. So if you need somebody to do more damage, she's kind of there for that support. I think personally, honestly, putting those aside, I think Takane Lu was kind of okay. I think she was kind of missing some stuff last time I checked her. She does hit 5 times, which is actually pretty good. Actually, 7 times. That's actually... I actually hadn't looked at this before. She's actually really decent, especially with the hitting multiple times kind of thing. She's never actually going to hit damage cap quite as fast. Raises attack with all allies 50%, increases on attack as well by 50%. Bad arrows, kind of not bad. Further hits, and then a single weakness for 13 seconds. On stage, increases crit defense and increases defense if they're yellow. Obviously, that's fine. She was kind of okay last time I checked her. She raises crit damage or crit rate and then crit damage. This strikes are pretty good. Accuracy rate. Oh, yeah, no, accuracy rate for characters is really important right now, especially with Sanctuary. I've seen a bunch of people kind of complaining about that type of stuff. Hopefully it kind of gets solved. I think Mimosa Susune, Momo Nene, I think is what I called her. Or Nene. Superman Ninishi Hololive. That's kind of whack. The kind of Neko buff is kind of fine. This is kind of like really one of those buffs that you really never looked at, but that was one of like the most interesting buffs they had. It was relatively decent. Heal, she's kind of a support character. She's kind of a blue support. If you're looking for like a Hololive kind of member to kind of get into, this is kind of not like a bad support, especially like since most characters are missing. Yeah, since most of us are kind of missing like blue support, like I think we're missing blue supports. I think I remember like having that issue before. There's a lot of good ones, but at least trying to get like a decent one nowadays is kind of a pain in the ass. I don't remember if Bright World Beta was any good. Let's see what her OLED has supposed to is. Further lowers attack, each time limit attacks cancel shield effects on all enemies. That's kind of whack. Interesting for PvP, not necessarily like the greatest, especially with how old this is. The cancels all buff, like all buff effects or shield effects, is kind of disgusting. Cid Kagano, Hin Powerhouse. We have Fin Power for what grants him his ability to all. Oh shit, that's actually kind of a, actually not bad. When knocked out, grants him invincibility in all blue elemental allies for 7 seconds. Lowers attack of all enemies by 30%. Also lowers their speed by 30% for further raises damage received by 30%. Honestly, you could probably, if you don't have him actually leveled up, you could probably do something like, I guess, like a, have him like in the team and then you accidentally get hit and then just basically nuke the team, I guess? Well, not quite. Yeah, no. Make yourself like really, it's kind of like a, I might not actually level him up, actually. That might not be like a bad kind of deal to kind of put him in there just to kind of see. Kind of gives him invincibility in case something goes wrong in like the first 7 seconds of the game. Then again, we also have one of the best supports on the blue team kind of thing. I think she's pretty good. I can't remember. Yep. All status ailments and then 5 status ailments on each ally. Really like that. It also like further cancels 5 status ailments on that one. The status ailments are also really good. Also cancels all buff effects. Again, canceling buff effects and removing buff effects always really nice. I think it's probably the most utility-based kind of character. For damage-wise, I think still it can be some better ones, but that's not bad. I think Nemomus, I hate this character. Like the name, I really don't like. I can't pronounce it. It's not that I hate the character, I just can't pronounce it. My name is just so hard. I'm so sorry. I keep butchering the name. Nene. I think I'm gonna call it Nene. Monet. Moni? Moni. Moni? Oh god. But yeah, let's see. Characters, we're gonna go to battle. To actually show you what actually the Neko buff is, which is essentially like a cat buff or whatever they call it. Well, yeah, no, I kind of saw this one. I was kind of intrigued about what it does. I could never actually figure out what it does, but if we go to here, it is an irremovable buff. So it can't be removed. It's one of those, like, yeah, it can be cancelled. There's X means no. Changes status based on the number of on Neko status. Raises an ally's attack by 1% per stack Neko when granted. Lowers an enemy's defense by 0.5% per stack Neko when inflicted. So whenever you kind of inflict kind of like one of these essentially effects, they're not quite status ailments, but they're like effects, right? It decreases the defense by 0.5% per stack. I don't think there's actually like a limit on it. I think they kind of do, yes, for 60 seconds, though, it's at least for as long as the match lasts, right? Sure, my energy also inflicts another 10 Neko, so it's like 20, like, it's like essentially like 5% plus another 5%, so it's like 10% debuff lower on top of another 10%. And then it's go time. Inflicts stun on, like, it really just kind of like stacks up like the debuffs really fast. And since this kind of counts as another additional debuff on top of the defense debuff, it's really fast. And it also, when total numbers of Neko among all enemies and allies exceeds 100, it raises speed by 50% for 30 seconds and damage inflicted by 50%. And it grants you an ongoing recovery buff of 50% attack. It also can increase your speed by up to 100%. I don't know how this is. I think like speed is capped at like 80%, but this is kind of really high. That is the only instance I've seen this like the instance this high. The problem is like if you last long enough, you're kind of already kind of killing. But it is really fast, especially for like that type of stuff. And then every 10 seconds after start wave inflicts an echo on a single enemy for 60 seconds 10 times, raises healing boost rate. Yep. Every 10 seconds. So it really it'll take like 50 like 30 to 40 seconds to kind of inflict the max kind of stacks. It's really good. I think it's really decent, especially kind of for like a starting a player if you want to kind of kill things fast, relatively. I think it'll get pretty decent. It's pretty acceptable. I would like to kind of get it, but it also kind of falls in a period where I just don't like to summon, so it's kind of like really rough. But setting that aside, we actually are finally here to kind of like a couple of things, right? So we actually got a double trouble banner, which is very interesting for starters because they actually guarantee you 2 characters in this banner. Actually, I had not noticed that before. So the 7/7 banners are always kind of like, again, they're always bait. What this kind of tells me is they might actually drop a dual unit, by the way. Every time so far, which is kind of like saying big numbers, big things, they've released a double trouble banner. There might be a little bit of a hinting towards, hey guys, you might be doing this. So, if you're playing and summoning, don't summon on this, unless you want Beta. I think I didn't want to summon on her. She's not necessarily bad. I just didn't want to summon on her. I just didn't like her. But again, she kind of fits in with Shadow, Awakening Hour. If you have Shadow in your party, she kind of helps out with that. You are going to be missing out on the, I believe actually, if I'm right, you'd need to go to 200 to maybe get her weapon. No, is it both of them? Hold on. Yeah, they only give you the Headband of Devotion and the other stuff. I believe. Yeah, I don't think you can actually get the other one. I think if you exchange it, I think you'd have to go for like 200 to get like the other one. No, that's not it. What? Oh no, they do give you the bonus. Okay, so you only need to get this one. Okay, so they actually give you the bonus up in there. That's pretty good actually. Could be worse. But again, I think Green Shadow's still probably usable more than I think the Blue. I can't quite remember. I still don't own him. I was gonna get Blue Shadow to kind of test him to see how he handles. Still don't have him, so he kind of is just kind of sitting in the ether at the moment for me. But now, setting these 2 guys aside, because we're gonna actually check them a little bit. I think I don't really have it checked out. Recovery rate, always nice. SP boost rate, except stealth with 75%. That's pretty good. Shadow Grace, Unleashed for defense, raises defense and then raises on attack. Shadow Punishment, Shadow Judgment. Pretty good on this one's. Again, having these as regular attacks is actually really good. This happens upon using your ultimate, I think. Awakening Hour. When hit techniques activated, after recovering own SP, by 1,000, SP starts to decrease by 70 per second and enters unleash mode until SP becomes 0. And of course, if you're like awakened already, you can already kind of do that. Again, I think probably the best stuff about Shadow is that he has just hits really hard. Right off the bat, I think. I kind of get a little bit clown on that type of prospect on Awakened. If that, yeah, again, Shadow just hits really hard. Actually, really looking at him, he just hits hard. After like popping up his ultimate, he just continues hitting hard, kind of thing. I might let people use him like a lot. I think, yeah, that kind of a given. I might be clowning on myself a little bit. Because I don't think Shadow has like an awakened state on that dual unit. versus attackable allies. That's fine. Rating inflicts that much damage. Yeah, again, sometimes I'm kind of like fascinated by how much, like, I guess dual units so far have been like really more for buffs rather than like outright damage. That's why I kind of use this one, because I think she kind of hits really hard on this one, especially with the multiple hits kind of instant. It's really nice. But setting that aside, because man, that is like that's quite a few characters, man. I think they're kind of like really throwing a lot of us into like the bus if we like any of these characters. New Year's, I didn't expect it was gonna be like this already. But setting that aside, let's get to the actual main person of attraction, the main topic, the Brocon Lapis herself, the VTuber of my haunting nightmares, and one of the most powerful characters I've seen in a hot second. Her kit, I would say it by far is one of the most interesting kits so far that I've seen. She essentially has gauge, instant gauge, on release. I have never seen a character like this. Her stuff is like, kind of feels like a Shunibio talking, to be honest with you. It's really cool at least though, and it kind of just gives me like the one true shadow kind of thing. But essentially, her stuff, it looks really fun, and by fun I mean like really strong. So at the start of battle, hold on, if we go for you. Absolute Darkness stage. At the start of the battle, recovers own SP by 1,000. Further applies shackles. Each time an ally inflicts a status limit on an enemy, removes the shackle himself. There's a cooldown for every 5 seconds. She can't ultimate really fast, sadly. But she also raises her own crit damage or whatever to like 10% per shackle removed, I believe. Yeah, so every 5 seconds, you kind of remove that. There's 5 shackles, so it's 25. So it's like halfway through the stage, you can ultimate like 3 times. So it's not necessarily like the best of the best, but she is like, she gets her ultimate like quick, instantly, basically. So if you're trying to like have like a not necessarily like a no-hit run, but she can pretty much like clear like really difficult stages in like the first 5 seconds if you're having issues with it, which is really good. And every time each shackle is removed, she also raises her own damage by 10%, also raises her own speed by 20% for 60 seconds. So she's gonna increase her damage also by 10,000, by the way. 10,000 damage. She has like increased damage cap on that, which is like, always necessary with newer units. Each time shackles removed, raises her own damage. So she has a maximum increase of damage of 100% and speed of 100% on top of that. I believe it stacks, I think. But I think each shackle recovers in the 5 shackles. She hits twice, which isn't necessarily like the best, but she also lowers defense of enemies, and this is instant, by the way. You get this in an instant, and it basically... Oh my god, what the hell? Really? What the fuck? That is significant, actually. 30 seconds of SP, you can basically reapply the buff. That is self-sustaining lower defense by 50%. That's actually kind of insane. The problem is I think her stuff is really, like, it's a 4. It could be worse, but this one is kind of really bad. It is also really necessary to have this one, like, max, because it actually makes the cooldown 3 seconds. So you can basically, what was the difference, right? So every 3 seconds versus every 5 seconds. So the difference is, alright, so you can apply, let's see, so you can only go through like 5 every like 2, like for 50 seconds. So you can only go through that like twice. So you can only ultimate like twice. I guess up to 3 times, thankfully, since you already begin with 1, right? So you begin with 1, you can then apply the stuff and then move on, but you can hit up to 3 times with this setup, with this cooldown. Yeah, because I think shackles prevent you from using your ultimate is the main thing. No, I think it might only be the 2 times, I think. Summon details. Our stuff is really good, I think, still. It's just a matter of applying debuffs really fast. I think she would probably go fine on a bleeder team, perhaps. I think if she applies debuffs, that'd also be fine. Waga High Founder Rush Attack. No, she doesn't actually apply debuffs. Yeah, so you need somebody else to apply debuffs when reporting. Unless she kind of applies it. Yeah, shackles. I think you need at least a debuffer on your team. You can also I think you can apply debuffs with Aurora, for example. She'd be kind of okay. She was the one that intrigued me the most. But let me see. Ultimate damage. Let me see, because I believe it's under the buff category, or I think the debuff category. I guess our removal object, I think. Battle. Status summons and special effects. Shackles. When shackles are in effect, and technique cannot be activated. Yeah, yeah. This is kind of like you can only use the ultimate up to 2 times. That's kind of bad. It's not the worst thing, but it will take a little bit, especially since there's a 5-second cooldown, so it's not instant. Instant is every 25 seconds. She will have her ultimate instantly, which is kind of nice. But again, you can only apply that you need to apply 5 of them. So let me see. If you have the 3-second cooldown, you can apply. You can get up to 4 ultimates on within 60 seconds of fight, kind of thing. Which is again double. The difference is double, which is kind of significant. Yeah, it's a little bit of a scuff one. I don't know if there's anybody that can actually really get it the ultimate really quite that fast or that slow really. But it is pretty fast. Once you hit the kind of requirement, you're good to go for it basically. It is interesting, however, I will say this. Really looking at it now, their characters probably get the ultimate faster than she does, I think. If you have a combination of whatchamacallit? I think if you combine, I think Gamma Pro's the ultimate faster than she does. And I think if I personally can try ultimate within 5 to 10 seconds of a fight with Beatrix, I think she kind of gives 500% of SP. So her stuff's already kind of half of it already done in 15 seconds, I think. It's not bad. We're looking at it now, the shackles are definitely significant. It would obviously be really broken if you could just do that. I think I guess is it AoE wise? Because she'll pop off really fast in PvP. I don't think she kind of works with anybody else really, so she doesn't have any. And I mean, she doesn't really have any tags, so that doesn't help. Yeah, she's under the other tag, which is kind of rough. She's the most interesting one. I kind of really looking at it now, kind of is a little bit sad that she's gonna get dead nerfed. But I don't know what the rotation is for ultimates. I think you can ultimate 2 to 3 times for certain units. I with a rusher, I guess, which maybe it's not that bad, but that is relatively rough, especially with the limitation on that one. It does increase your damage by quite a bit though, so it's really you're gonna hit hard. Pretty fast, if nothing else. I think how long? Because I think even she has a little bit. Yeah, she damages everybody else then. It's not bad, but again, you need to pair her up with somebody that applies debuff, so you need like probably Aurora, so that might actually lower your damage a little bit, perhaps. She doesn't even like lower your damage per se. But again, you'd have to also pair it up with somebody that's like a green tank that works with everybody. I think Epsilon still counts as that. If Shadowguard kind of doesn't help, yeah, if Shadowguard, so that doesn't help. I guess she works well with Alpha though. Evasion proportional enemies. She does kind of fall into the category of green helping kind of stuff, which is again really interesting. But yes, setting that aside, she is performing really decent. Yeah. Very fascinating. And again, interesting release, interesting character. Hopefully, I don't get a copyright strike on my kind of like first 30 seconds of that video. We'll see what happens. If I cut it out, that kind of suck. That would kind of obviously suck, but it is what it is. Let's see. Yes, ending this side. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Enjoy this. Hopefully this was informative enough for you, rather. My takes on some of the stuff. Again, Double Trouble Banner. If you're not really interested in these ones, again, Double Trouble Banner is kind of where you're gonna be looking at the most. She kind of pairs up Beta again, pairs up with Shadow, is kind of given. The double step up is always kind of like the double character guaranteed is nice, by the way. I am liking this. I think that also the rates are, I believe, decent, or is it standard? Yeah, 4.5%. Which is better than the selection manners, I think. Sure, what? Yeah, 3%. Yeah, it's better than the selection manners. You also get a guaranteed at 100, which is better than nothing, really. Especially at 150. I am liking these ones a lot. And since they're starting to do the Double Trouble Banner, I am like, whenever they release ones that are like really good that I don't have, that I really would like, this is going to be where you're going to be looking at. This is also kind of like the third release of a character that you may not have. So if you're also looking for Beta, this is the time to get Beta. If not, well, you can move on. We are probably getting a possible, not Apocalypse, but we might be getting Apocrypha soon enough. I do hope, because it just hasn't been anything. But yeah, this video might be released a little bit late, depending on how kind of the processing is. Might have to remove some of the content. We'll see. Hopefully not. I kind of just had that clip. If it is, well, it sucks to suck. It is what it is. Anyway, y'all have a good one and stay solid. Bye.